Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here at TEDxIlupeju, and I'm really delighted to be with everyone here. My name is Jide, as I've been introduced, and for me, talking to people here, especially about something I'm passionate about, is such a huge privilege for me. The world is changing, as you're aware of it. The business world is changing. The way we communicate is changing. Jobs are changing. People are changing. And when you look around you, if you don't key into that change and you're not prepared for the change, you would, if you're not careful, become relevant. So, what do I say to people? It's very simple. Change is happening every day. Change is the one consistent thing in life. Change is no longer an event, it's no longer an episode. Change is a constant. Change is what we breathe in, it's what we breathe out. Change is not what you think might not happen. It's what will definitely happen, whether you like it or not, whether you are prepared for it or not. And one of the things I tell people is this: no matter how skilled you are, no matter how intelligent you are, no matter how talented you are, if you are not evolving, all right, you will soon become irrelevant. Think about it. What used to be marketing before, many years ago, was about billboards, TV, radio, and the likes. But when you think about it now, what is advertising? What is marketing? What is communication? It's about storytelling. It's about content. How are you able to tell a story different from how it was told 10, 15, 20 years ago? But also think about it. How would you tell your story again in 10 years' time, in 15 years' time, and in 20 years' time? So, what you think is good today, all right, if you're not careful and you stay on it, you would actually become irrelevant in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, in the next 15 years. So I'm here to tell you just a short story about my life, my journey, and then how possibly it might help you to become a better version of yourself. So a few lessons, all right, but I'll start with my journey. Let me talk about my journey from when I started in Guarantee Trust Bank to Echo Bank and now working in the bank of industry. It's very simple. My journey has been the type that change has been changing me, it has stretched me. I've moved from one organization to the other organization. But sometimes it's not about moving from one organization to the other. Sometimes it's even change within a system, all right? And sometimes it's even a change completely from the industry that you are familiar with. So in terms of being familiar with systems, places, you have to also be careful not to lock yourself down in a place that is no longer working. So for me in GT Bank, when we started, it was more about how is the world of communication changing, all right? We wanted GT Bank to be positioned as a place for the future, all right, as a bank for the future, and we wanted to tap into a youth demography. The young people were no longer watching TV as we grew up watching TV. People were now on their phones, they were chatting, they were creating, they were building, all right, and they were connecting. So for us, it was more of how do we tap into that market where the young people are already. And I'll tell you a story. Those young people that we met in university when they were 18, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years after they own businesses, they're executives in their organizations. And you see how we've carried a journey from when they were young to now carrying and telling our own story. So in GT Bank, what were we doing? It wasn't about marketing or product. It was more about storytelling. It wasn't about what you had to offer. It was more about how do you create a lifestyle? How do you integrate what you have into what people need? Because if you're not careful, most times what will happen is you begin to sell what you feel is necessary for people and not knowing that people need something completely different. And so we started things like Indani TV. And then you see that we're not talking about banking. We are talking about something completely different, but it was an attraction to the young people. So we started something else again. We wanted to sell a product, all right, because we wanted to meet people on their phones. But what we were doing was, if you just sell a product to say, transact on your phone, it might be boring. So we said, you know what, let's talk about the different categories of people that we want them to be able to do transactions on their phone. And then when we profiled them, what we do, we created a video and a song that resonated with them. That taught us a very big lesson, that sometimes your biggest advert is not that thing that is on radio. Sometimes your biggest advert is that thing that they're singing in the club, that they're singing at a party. And so we created something called 737. And People sang 737 almost like it was a chorus, almost like it was a national anthem, but they didn't know that they were promoting a brand. Okay, so for us, it was how do we tap into this market? Again, we wanted to evolve and we said, okay, you know what? We've done 737, it's been successful. We've taken people away from queuing, all right, in branches and then doing transactions on their phone. And we said, you know what? How do we create lifestyle banking where we are more relevant to our customers than open an account, close an account, loans, and what have you? So we created things like SME Market Hub, but in creating SME Market Hub, we created food and drink, we created fashion weekend, and so and a lot of other initiatives. Now, these initiatives took the bank from what it used to be to a different market completely, changed the whole banking landscape, and now you see a lot of people doing things in that nature. Don't wait for change, chase change. It's not something that you feel like when you just wait by some miracle, things will come to you and then you start thinking about, okay, how do I now latch onto this? There are opportunities around you, right? And so for us, we didn't want to wait for change. It was something that we had to go for. In this generation, being proactive is a superpower. Don't think that you just sit down and fold your arms and then things will begin to happen for you. So for us, it was don't sell products, tell stories, and sell lifestyle, be proactive. Next, I moved my career from where I used to work to a different place. This time around, it was in another organization, another commercial bank. And the commercial bank, this time, it was a different space. It wasn't about lifestyle. It wasn't about storytelling. It had a part to do with that. But you can't say you're a Pan-African bank and it does not resonate with people. What is the meaning of being a Pan-African bank to the ordinary man there? And so we thought about it. In this day and age, and this was about 3-4 years ago when I joined the bank, what is the most relevant thing that is happening now? Young people, creators, young people in fashion, young people in art, young people in music, young people doing all sorts of things within the creative sector. And so we said, you know what? We're going to tell a Pan-African story. We'll tell that story by leveraging on things that relates to you and I, your culture, your art, your heritage, your history. And that was when we started things like at the Rare Exhibition. We created some initiatives, like photography, art, and design. And thankfully, there's someone here that was a part of the first photography and art and design exhibition. We created things like 234 art. So I think we created things like 234 art, We created things like, now if you go there now, there's a fella exhibition. Now that taught me something. It wasn't just when I started my career, it was about understanding what people needed and how to change and transform a brand. But now I was moving to a place where I needed to know myself. I needed to understand my value. I needed to understand what I had that I could offer. I needed to now move from learning to actually executing. So you see how the transformation is taking place from someone that was learning under someone to someone that was now heading a team. And in heading a team, your mindset has to be different. The way you approach things is different. Now you can actually create stuff and execute it because you are a completely different person. Now you can actually say, you know what? I want to stand for something. I want to be known for something. And then you begin to hone your leadership skills. And then I moved to another organization, all right? And this time around, completely different. You have to rethink, you have to recreate, and you have to redefine who you are, okay? And then I moved to this other institution where I currently work. It wasn't about storytelling, product, or profitability, or positioning. The first two places was more about positioning, it was more about your product, it was more about competition with other brands. But this time around, you're not in competition with any other brand, you're in competition with yourself. So now you have to have a different mindset because what you're telling yourself is, if I'm not competing with brand A or brand B, how do I become relevant, all right, in this day and age? Now, that led us to say, you know what, let's talk about our customers. Let's talk about what we are doing to help industries. Let's talk about what we are doing to help businesses. Let's talk about how we are helping people to co-create and become even more transformational. We're not thinking about now. We're not thinking about the next brand. It was more about creating something that was more in terms of nation building, looking at customers, backing creators, laying a foundation for the next generation of entrepreneurs to thrive. For me, the mindset I had when I evolved to where I currently am is it's not about brand positioning. It's more now about being patriotic. It's more about something bigger than you, which is about building the nation, transforming the Nigerian economy, and supporting businesses, small businesses that people don't know about. How do you push them? And so we created things like a BOY Impact TV program and then a lot more storytelling. Now, what all of these things I've said is for you to understand one thing. Change. Your environment sometimes will force you to change. Sometimes your work will force you to change. Sometimes the things that you now have to do will force you to change. Sometimes the future, the thought of the future and what you want to achieve in life will force you to change. So I'm going to tell you as I begin to close, a couple of things you need to take note of. First things first. In moments of uncertainties, where you have to move from either a department to another department, or where you have to move from one workplace to the other workplace, all right, in moments of disruptions and doubt, you need to stay grounded. You need to stay resilient. Think about it. There might be challenges where you are going to, all right, but how am I still understanding who I am, what I carry, the value that I have, the potential that I have, and that will help you to remain grounded, and that will keep you focused. The second thing is this. A lot of people prefer stability against stretch. You see, if you stay in your comfort zone, you will not grow. So instead of being in a place where it's stable, it's fine, it's comfortable, you are okay with it, they pay you well, go to the place where it will stretch you, because in that stretch, you discover hidden talents that you didn't even know you had. All right? Now, don't look for what is safe. Safety is not good sometimes, because safety will keep you in a particular level for too long. Sometimes go beyond safety. Think about growth, okay? If you are not careful, if you stay in the place of safety, other people that are growing and are looking for opportunities, they will overtake you in no time. So don't look at safety. Think about growth. How do I take advantage of opportunities that are around me? Even when you are in business, how do I take advantage of opportunities that are around me? All right? And that's what makes one person successful from the other. Now, the other thing you should think about is this. Everywhere I go, wherever I walk, what mark am I leaving behind? Everywhere that I've walked, all right, and this is not even to bluff, or this is not even anything for me to, it's not about pride or arrogance. Everywhere I've walked, I've left a mark, all right? And that's why everywhere I've walked, you see something that they said, it was this person that did this. Simply because if you work in any environment, whether it's in a department, whether it's in a new office, whether you're an entrepreneur in an industry, make sure that you leave a legacy behind. Make sure that you don't leave that place without something that marks your name. Marks your name perpetually in that space. Do you understand? Have a legacy. Think about it. What is that thing that when I leave this place, people will always remember me for? Do you understand? Now, those are the people that opportunities chase. When you are the kind of person that make things happen in your environment, people will look for you. It's very simple. All right. Now, the next thing for me is, as I round up, a couple of other things I need you to also know. What used to be important yesterday, if you are not careful, might now become obsolete. A lot of us that are in design, graphics, and art, you know AI can do almost everything that you are doing now. So now, if you feel like all you need to know is about graphic design using Corel Draw, guess what? It's now becoming obsolete. So you have to be careful. If everything you used to know before was how to just do newspaper advertising and, billboards and all of that stuff, if you're not careful, you are going to be obsolete. Yesterday's excellence is today's mediocrity. A lot of the things that you feel like you've achieved and you feel like you are happy and you're comfortable and you're celebrating today, think about it in the next 5 years. Is it going to be worth celebrating? Okay? Now also build skills, acquire knowledge, but always think about the future. What you know today. A lot of us, we didn't just have BSc. Now we've moved from masters. Now where I work, your masters is as good as your SSCE. Do you know why? Because I work with a lot of people that are doctors. So now I'm thinking, how do I move from having just a master's degree to having a doctorate degree? You have to build skills. You have to build knowledge. You have to look at your environment. What do I need within my environment that will take me to the place that I want to be? Because a lot of us must understand that where you are and the skills you are might be good today, but in 10 years' time, it might be completely irrelevant. Okay? Now, be a standout person. Don't be that kind of person that you just come and go and nobody notices you. Be that kind of person that when you come, within a short time, people know you, people reckon with you. Be reliable. All right? Seek opportunities. Don't just wait. When there are opportunities, seek those opportunities. All right? Be dependable. All right? The question is no longer, will change come? The question is, when would change come? Because it's definitely going to come. I'll give you a quick story as I take my last few moments. When I was going to leave where I was working initially, the MD called me and said, Jide, we like you, and we don't want you to go. Would you rather go to another department or stay here? And I said, I think if I stay here, it's good, all right? Because the pay is good, the opportunities are great. But I don't think I'll be the kind of person I want to be. So he said, you know what? I'll release you on one condition. If in 3 or 4 years' time, you see yourself being a better version of yourself, if you think that in 3, 4, 5 years, you'll be 2 or 3 times better, today I stand to tell you something, I'm 10 times better than what that challenge was. Simply because I told myself I can do it. I'm better than this. It's not about the money, okay? And I didn't move because of money, because if it was because of money, I would have stayed where I was. It wasn't about money. It was about knowing myself, knowing my capabilities, knowing my gifts, knowing my talents, knowing what I could do, and knowing what I could contribute to my environment. So reinvention, all right, is not about being somebody else. It's about becoming a sharper version of yourself. And as I conclude, I'll leave you with one word. Be the person that the future wants you to be. Thank you very much.